All right, so let's look at the difference between east and west loading of your wood stove versus north and south loading. Bear with me on my artistic skills here, but we'll work at it. Okay, so as far as east and west loading goes, this is what we're considering it. This would be east and west or side by side. And then this would be north and south. Front to back. However you can remember it is best for you. That's good. Okay guys, for the first half of the experiment here, I'm going to start out with the north-south setup. Now I'm doing my top-down method, so when I say north-south for the experiment, I'm talking about the base of my top-down. So you can see the 4 logs. I actually have 6. There's 2 more that you can't see here. But they're north and south, or front to back, if you will. Like I said, I'm set up with my top down. You can see paper at the top and gradually gets larger as you go down. So nothing's changing there to start. I've got my coals raked in there like I showed you guys in the top down fire video. But we're going to try, this is the way I normally do it. My base layer, I run north to south. And we'll start with this. I'll show you how well this works. And then for the second half, we'll change these down here. And we'll run them east-west or side to side on the base. And you'll see how that affects the burn. And this doesn't only affect like startup, but this will affect like your reloads. Typically on a reload, what I'll do is kind of shuffle the coals into the middle and then make a little division down between it and make almost like 2 rows of hot coals, and then stack wood on top of it east to west, and that way there's still airflow up underneath them. Because remember, in that box, at least in mine, I think the good majority of them, the airflow is like this: front to back at the bottom, back to front at the top, in a circular pattern. So let's go ahead and get this started up like this, and you guys can see you know, that it breathes this way and how it breathes. And then our next fire tomorrow, I will go ahead and I will set it up so you guys can see what happens when the base layer here is side to side, or east to west, we'll call it, or however you guys want to call it. So let's get it going, and we can see how this performs. And I'll go ahead and shut the door now and let that let that circulation start. As I described in the previous video with the top-down method, I like to close the door, you know, as soon as it's starting to burn decent like this. If you leave it open too long, it burns up your resources too quickly, and it doesn't want to light down below. You want to let that fire progress naturally. All right, so I'm not gonna film all of this here. I'm gonna let this get going, and once we start seeing things take off through the layers, I'll show you how it's progressing so you can see where we're at. Actually, I don't know, maybe I should let this go for you so that you can see the progression here, allowing air to travel through to the back of the box and up through the stack here. You guys can see that it's progressed to those two center logs on the bottom. Those are well lit. The next set out on each side is charring and should take pretty soon as well. So I think at this point you guys can kind of see the benefit here of how that airflow is so important. And if you can set your stove to that, you know, or set yourself up that way, that gives you your best chance of getting that quick burn. It's just so helpful. Of course, it takes, you know, it may take a little planning. I think a lot of people just try to cut to one size with their wood. I try to cut a couple different sizes. Like this will take up to a 22-inch log, I think, side to side, 21 or 22 inches. Front to back, I can fit an 11.5-inch log, literally straight front to back. You could cut that a little longer and do angles, you know, but that's not a big deal either. Sometimes if I have something that's kind of mid-sized like that, I just kind of, you know, will angle it this way instead of straight front to back. Both work fine. But again, I just, you know, by doing this, you're setting yourself up for success. Little planning, little, you know, if it's that important to you. Again, I try to burn as safe as I can and clean as I can. I said it in my other video, I'll say it again in this one. The idea is to get your chimney up to temperature as fast as possible so that you're burning clean and you're not building up creosote. I mean, you're always going to get some in the chimney, but this ensures by heating up that chimney quicker and as quickly as you can that it lessens the amount that's going to build up or how quickly it will build up. It's a big safety factor, really. The less creosote that's in there, the less chance you have of a chimney fire, which is ideal. Obviously, nobody wants a chimney fire. But in the same token, like I say, outside of safety, burning clean, we don't want to give the government or anybody else any brilliant ideas about why we shouldn't have wood stoves. They're already kind of onto that, and you know, they don't want to deal with that. But anyhow, guys, I'm wandering. I'm gonna pause you here. You can see how it's progressed. I'm gonna let it burn in a little bit more. I'll give you an update when we're a little further in, and I'll show you where we're at for a reload. And then I will have to cut two until tomorrow when I start again, and we'll start one east to west tomorrow, and you can see we'll see how that progresses. I kind of already know the answer to this. I'm just trying to put this out there for you guys in case you've never really thought about it, or you've struggled loading a particular way. Maybe this is something to try. So again, for my box, the way it's set up and that airflow, the front to back, north to south method is the best for me. Again, here's my airflow coming in, down, and you can see that would flow through those logs. And it keeps that natural circulation through my box. So if you're doing the east-west and you're not having a lot of luck, or your burns aren't quite what you want them to be, I would give this a go and see if this helps your performance. Okay guys, it's been several hours here. Let's go ahead and get ready to reload here. You can see what we're at. We got some decent coals left in there. We're just going to kind of rake those up. And like I was saying before, I'm going to kind of put them all in the middle, and then kind of put a like a little clearing down the center of it. Just going to rake everything in. Kind of mix it up a little bit there. Just a little channel right down the middle like so. Get my glove on, and then we'll go ahead and lay some more pieces in there. It's going to be a little bit hard to see, but after raking, I have a little path right down the center that's going to let that air travel right up underneath these and through them. So, got a pile that side, pile on that side, and then a little channel right down through the middle there. And that'll allow the air to run through just like we were doing in the beginning there until that burns. And then once those logs catch, you know, eventually those coals are going to settle down. But as that burns, once it gets going, you're in good shape anyway. So this again, that channel is just to basically get this to take off and get that air going through there. You want that natural flow of air. All right. All right, that's just like basically about 2 minutes, 3 minutes tops. You see how everything's a go. You can see the airflow coming up through the center of the stack there and back behind it, which is what you want. We're heating back up real good. So we'll let that kick in, and then we'll go ahead and set the intake back a little bit, slow that down, and let that go for another 4 hours, something like that. And you have your logs laying like this inside the box. That air, I feel, will come down and crash into those logs as opposed to flowing through and up into them to allow that burn. And this would be the east-west. So again, my box wants to come in like this, and circle around and leave with the airflow. So if that comes in, again, right above my glass, comes down, that's going to crash into those logs instead of flowing through those logs. So how does that affect the burn time? That's what we're trying to find out. Hey, good morning, guys. Okay, so today is second day. We're going to, as I said before, we'll try starting a fire this time. We'll still use the top-down method. You can see I still raked all my coals from yesterday, but we're going to lay the base east to west or side to side today and see if that makes a big difference in how the fire gets going and how it burns. So you can see I kind of have the coals raked up and set to east to west. Let's go ahead and put a couple of logs in here east to west now and get ready to build the rest of the top down. Okay. So there, front and back, we got east and west laid out like that, and then we'll just go ahead and build on top of that, and then we'll see what the difference is here. We'll get it going. Remember yesterday, as I said, my box flows like this, so I anticipate the air crashing into this and not being able to move through the stack. But we'll go ahead and we'll see what happens here. All right, guys, we're all loaded up here. Got my newspaper up top. Kind of hard to see in there, but it's up there. So okay, there's our base, east to west. Let's get this fired up and see what kind of difference it makes, if any. The other thing I find that I think would be a benefit is for those guys who burn overnight or want that hotbed of coals in the morning. I don't think the east-west method is the best. If you think about it, with your north-south load, you have each side of the firebox to basically contain your wood. So you can continue to pile logs or stack logs front to back like this. And your sides are going to kind of hold those in place, and then you can continue to stack. So ultimately, you look inside your box and you can just fill your entire box with logs front to back. Now, this is obviously an exaggeration here, but again, your sides can support that and hold that together. If you're trying to do that front to back, north to south, you're not going to, east to west, then you have to rely on just a little lip at the front of the stove to hold that wood in place. And you're going to get less logs when you think about that. Because you can't support wood against your glass. That's a no-no. So you're only going to be able to stack so many like this. You know?
And that's basically however far you can get it from this little lip right here. This little lip is going to come in, and that's all your support you're going to have. So you're probably going to end up building at an angle like this because you can't use any of this space up here with the glass. So it may, from, if you could cut away this side, you would see basically like this. And your airflow is just going to go right up that stack. Again, using my stove as the example, that air is going to come in and just travel up like this. So a lot of this isn't going to be penetrated back here at the back, which some folks argue that's the point of stacking like this for an overnight burn, is that that penetration slows, or the lack of penetration into those logs provides a longer burn. And I would probably agree with that to a point. However, you can't fill your box. That's A. And B, this down here may never actually get going. And then you have a smoldering situation. And when it smolders, that's when you get your creosote, and that's when you start having chimney problems and chimney fires, etc. Now, if you go back to this method, you can certainly, this is the north and south again, you can certainly load your box up like this. Your airflow is going to come in and go through your box. It can penetrate all those logs, and then you can use your draft control to slow that burn down. You shut your, you gradually shut your intake down before bed after you load this up. You don't have to worry. You're still going to get that air penetration through there for the fire to burn clean, but you can slow it way down. And then you should still have enough wood in there to last you through the night. Now, the only drawback that I would see about this method, north and south, is that you're going to have to put a little extra labor into it. And what I mean by that is, depending on your stove, mine is actually more, it's longer than it is deep, okay? So I'm looking at a box more like this. This is exaggerated, of course. But being is that mine is longer than it is deep, I would have to cut logs to fit. I would have to pre-plan that probably, or cut on the fly, which could probably be a pain in the butt. But if you're out there and you cut some of your, when you're processing your wood, if you cut some to 12 inches for the depth and some of them for length, and you are ahead of the game that way, then you'll have your logs that you could stack like that for your overnight burn. Yeah, you're putting a little more thought into it. You're putting a little extra work into it because you'd have two different sizes of logs. But then there's guys that may have, more of a square box that, it's as deep, and they are out there, where you have the same number here as you do here. And that way, if you have a big box like that, front to back and side to side, then it doesn't matter. Pretty much all your logs will fit either way. And those stoves are out there. And of course, usually they're bigger stoves. Usually 3,000 square feet heating or more, if that's a thing. I don't know. I've never looked. Mine is my stove is rated 2,000 square feet heating. But again, mine's longer or wider than it is deep. So I would have to have two size logs, and I do have to have two size logs for when I do that front to back. In my case, I do plan that out when I'm processing. So it's really not a big deal to me. If you don't do that, like I said, then you'd have extra work throughout the season, which I don't think most guys would want to do. But there's that's the best I can show you for that. And this again is based on the flow of my stove. Again, coming in right above the glass door there, comes down over the door, circulates back through the wood. I've said it before a couple of times actually, that I think that's the way most stoves function, but I could be wrong. There may be variations in that. I don't know, but so yeah, that kind of gives you an idea there, guys. All right, we'll pick back up here. Sit tight. Okay, guys, we're back here at the wood stove. So here's the first issue that I've come across with this east to west setup here. So it's only been a little over an hour and a half, and you see what we're down to. Okay, and here's our stove temp. We're down to 100 degrees already. So it burned through pretty quick on the top layers there. We did end up heating up to, it got right around 400 on the thermometer there. So we've already dropped down 300 degrees, and you can see what we're down to. So I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to show you what I find happens when you don't have that airflow with the north-south loading. Get my poker here. I'll take a look at this here, guys. Look at that. Our temperature dropped, but we still have those two that were on the bottom that are unburnt. They're charred, but they never burnt. See that? So that's why our temperature's dropped already. I'm going to get those kind of back out of the way here and rake my coals over and try to rectify what we got going on here. And this, guys, is having my inlet wide open the whole time as well to try to get additional air in there. So, try to get those hot coals up under this stuff here. And let's see if I can get a couple of pieces up on top there that we can maybe get this going again.
All right, so we got our coals back up underneath there. Add some extra wood in here and see if we can get this to go again. I believe that's your biggest difference there. You can take a look at that. So we'll get that rolling again. You can see it's already taken off. That stuff should burn up and turn to coals now. But being right on a base like that, that's where we're at, east to west. Here's your big difference. So I think, in my opinion, this is not the way to go, and it's not efficient. That wood would have smoldered out, and I would have had those left there to start another fire. So that makes your stove fairly inefficient, then, I would say, at that point. So for me, front to back is the best for starting out. As I showed you yesterday, when you reload, I like to make 2 beds of coals and with a gap down the middle to let that air flow through when I reload. And then you're fine to throw logs east to west on top of those hot coals like that, but you're still given an airflow channel through the center, and that works out well. Again, in the pictures like I was showing you that I drew up for you guys, you can set your overnight burn up. I'm not going to demonstrate that because first of all, I don't need that much heat. I don't burn overnight. So I'm not going to load the box up full like that. I don't burn like that. Like I said before, this is more or less comfort and emergency use. Now, if we didn't have power or something like that for a few days, then I would go ahead and load that box up later in the day. You know, like most folks like to do if they're relying solely on wood for heat, and then let that go overnight. But again, north to south like that, you can go ahead and fill that box, and you can shut your draft control down, and that'll last you all night. You'll still get that air penetration, as I explained, and you should have nice coals in the morning. It should burn enough of it, but not too fast that way. East to west like this, you're kind of limited to how much you can put in there, and I explained that as well. So there you guys have it. I hope you enjoyed the video today. Please, in the comments, I would love to know what your guys' take on it is. How do you guys burn? Do you have a preference? Would love to know. We'll see you guys on the next video. Thanks a lot.